I'm really glad that Barb introduced me to RBC products. I do a lot of mountain biking, a lot of tennis, a lot of hockey, a lot of baseball, hiking. So I find that it really reduces the lactic acid buildup, reduces the burn. You don't get that burn at all. It's a great antioxidant as well. So the next day, it really helps your muscles recover if you've had a good workout. I'm really glad that they were introduced to me, and I can tell you that they've really helped me with my health just on the side of my cardiovascular and just overall health. It's been great.
My name is Dave Champion. I'm a pretty serious runner, have been for the last 15 years. And about 12 years ago, I was introduced to, started taking some of these products and have depended on them to be a staple in my fueling regime for the last 12 years. And I keep about a weekly mileage of about 100 kilometers a week and regularly trail races. I've gravitated into the longer stuff, the ultra stuff, 50K, 50 mile, even 100K. And in my going into my mid-50s, this is what I depend on, these products, to keep me energized, to speed up recovery, keep me free from sickness and injury. So it's been a great experience.
Okay, since I'm taking the RBC Life products with my competitive surfing career and just life in general, I've just noticed an increase in mental clarity, increased energy, and also a much faster recovery time.
Hello, my name is Ron Zaire. 30 years ago, I began studying, writing about, and teaching about health and wellness, with a particular interest in how they affect and influence human performance. Today, I'm excited to share with you some of science's latest breakthroughs. You will learn whether you're an elite athlete, a weekend warrior, or someone who wants to live an active life. Today, you will learn things that you can do to maximize your performance today without sacrificing your long-term health. Let's talk about some challenges that we all experience. Now, I've got 3 challenges here, and you may be saying, Ron, there's really a 4th. It's finding the time to do what I love to do. Well, I'm going to leave that one to you. But whatever your activity level is, we all deal with fatigue. Whether it's muscle fatigue or entire body fatigue, we want the energy and the endurance to keep going and to play hard. Number 2 challenge is pain, injury, and incremental damage. Now, I've lumped these together, and what I'm really talking about is both muscle pain and joint soreness. I'm also talking about injury, torn muscles, tendons, cartilage, broken bones that happen when you play hard. And finally, I'm including here incremental damage, because sometimes our body gets hurt and we don't know about it. And that damage builds up over time until years later we have problems that are sometimes debilitating. It's unfortunate, but the fact is that the label former athlete often means broken down and on the sidelines. 3rd challenge is decreased performance, unlimited improvement. You ever hit a plateau? As you get older, is your performance increasing or is it dramatically decreasing? What can you do to break through those barriers and break through those plateaus? Well, let's look at the peak performance pyramid, shall we? And the 5 pillars of what go into building peak performance. The first is energy and endurance. And by energy endurance, I'm not just talking about revving up the nervous system with lots of sugar or caffeine or whatever the case may be, but I'm talking about energy and endurance on a cellular level. Next up is lactic acid, dealing with that lactic acid. We know about lactic acid burn. We know about that soreness and stiffness in muscles. I'm talking about that, but I'm also talking about the lactic acid that contributes to acidity throughout the whole body. And I will tell you about some of the damaging effects of that and what we can do about it. I'm talking about oxidative damage. You know that corrosion that takes place through oxidation on metal? We call it rust. Well, a similar kind of corrosion can take place in our bodies when we exercise a lot. That's called oxidative damage. So what can we do to protect our bodies against that and against the repercussions of that within our cells and tissue. Talking about building lean muscle. Now, I don't know if you just want to be one of those guys, not that there's anything wrong with that, but all of us need lean muscle to keep us going, and the fact is that as we age, it becomes harder and harder to build lean muscle. So we need to do something to empower our body, to help our body to do that, because just exercise may not be enough. And the fifth pillar is renewing and replenishing. Listen, you're in the game, you're playing to win, aren't you? And so injury is going to happen. You're going to have those nicks, those cuts, those bruises, those bangs. You may have something more serious, and as I mentioned, there's that incremental damage. So you want your body to be renewing, replenishing, and repairing as things happen. Boy, how long do you want to sit on the sidelines? How fast do you want your recovery time to be? I don't mind getting battered and bruised, if you know what I mean, but at the end of the game, I don't want to be broken and sitting on the sidelines. So what can we do to repair? Let's start with that one, shall we? Our body has a phenomenal system for renewing, replenishing, and repairing. Let's watch a clip of a video with a world-renowned expert in stem cell therapy and stem cell technology, Dr. Neil Reardon. He's going to tell us about some of the latest breakthroughs in this field.
You know, I'm really excited about stem cells, and all the doctors that we work with are also equally excited, because I think stem cells are going to allow doctors to treat patients for things that were in the past thought to be incurable. And I'm going to talk to you about some of those cases. And I'm certain that stem cell research will improve the health of people worldwide, and more importantly, will reduce healthcare costs. So I'm going to talk about repair stem cells. We hear about all the controversy over stem cells, embryonic stem cells in particular, fetal stem cells. And in both of those cases, you know, a life has to be taken. The cells that I'm going to talk about today are in our bodies. We all have stem cells. If you're sitting in that chair breathing, your stem cells are hard at work making sure that everything is repaired in your body. My original career was in tumor immunology, and I worked in a cancer research laboratory, and we made cancer vaccines for cancer patients. And we took their personalized cancer vaccines, so we made the vaccines out of their blood, their white blood cells that we would harvest from their veins. And the problem was we couldn't get enough cells. So then we started giving patients a medication that stimulates the release of stem cells from the bone marrow, and then we were able to harvest those stem cells, grow them up in the laboratory, and then convert them into a bigger, better vaccine. So that's how we got started. But the interesting thing we noted was that when we gave them the medication to stimulate the release of the stem cells, other things got better. People with knee problems, their knees got better. People with shoulder problems, their shoulders got better. We had a patient with a heart problem, the heart problem got better because the stem cells were released from the bone marrow and went to the areas where they were needed. So that's what really got me interested in stem cells for regenerative medicine. Why a nutritional supplement? Stem cells is only part of the story, because we can give somebody stem cells and they home to the area of damaged tissue. But that's only part of it. They don't do all the repair. What they do is they send out signals and say, hey, rest of the stem cells, come on down. Let's fix it, right? And so one of the biggest benefits is they're recruiting other stem cells, and those other stem cells are coming from the bloodstream. So if you don't have enough circulating stem cells, then you're not going to get near the benefit. And that's what we found. Some people have fantastic responses. Some people have, you know, medium responses. Some people don't have any responses. We said, well, why is that? And then we started looking at the number of circulating stem cells, because they don't do any good if they're not available to do the repair. Our conclusion is the more circulating stem cells you have, the better the result in our clinic. So we wanted a supplement that we could give to our patients before they came to get their cells circulating, so when we inject the stem cells, they go to the damaged area, release the signals, there are more repair cells to go there and help fix the problem. And then we also wanted a supplement that we could send them home with, so that, you know, those cells are still there secreting the messages. We want more and more stem cells circulating to repair the damage. So we started researching, well, what helps nourish and stimulate the stem cells in the bone marrow. And we looked at a whole bunch of natural compounds. And it's interesting that the snacks out there today, there were blueberries, there were blackberries, there were, in back here, there was some green tea. And there are a lot of natural things. And if you look in nature, really, the most colorful things you can eat typically have the most benefit. The phytonutrients that are in them have the most benefit on the bone marrow and on protecting your stem cells, nourishing your stem cells, and stimulating your stem cells. So we looked at the literature, and then we individually tested all the different items that were candidates, all of them plant-based. We identified those candidates, and then we looked at different combinations. And the one thing that was surprising to us is that when we fermented those raw materials with the bacteria that's used to make sourdough bread sour, the effect went up about 5-fold. The effect of nourishing and stimulating the stem cells went up dramatically. And that's how we wound up with this product. Once we saw in the lab, well, we have this combination that really works great on stimulating the stem cells. Let's see if it works in human beings. So we did clinical trials. And we found that this product profoundly nourished the stem cells in the bone marrow and significantly increased the number of circulating stem cells that are going to help our patients get better. So moving the stem cells from the bone marrow around the body where they would be available for repair. The name of this product comes from the Greek for movement or to move, which is chyne, and then of course stem for stem cells. So the product name is StemKine. I'm going to bore you with some science. I'm going to look you in the eye and put you right to sleep. No, so I'm only going to talk about 2 different kinds of stem cells. One are the blood-forming stem cells, right? And they form the different blood cells in your body. And then the other ones are called EPCs, and what they do is maintain the vasculature. So these blood-forming cells, and they have fancy names because those are named for markers that are found on the cells so we can identify them, but they're meaningless. They're just a sequential number. They home to damaged tissue, right? When you break your leg, there's signals that are sent out to the bone marrow to say, hey, send us some help. So these things are mobilized from the bone marrow, and they go there, and they're the first responders, and then they send out secondary signals to recruit other stem cells to repair. In animal models, when you take a rat and you give them a stroke by clamping off one of the arteries going to the brain, if you inject some of these cells into the tail vein of the rat, they go right to the stroke, and they help repair the stroke. If you give a rat a heart attack, and then you inject the cells in the tail vein, they go right to the heart and help to repair the heart. If you tease up the liver or give them a chemical that damages their liver, give them the stem cells, they go right to the liver and help the liver. So they're very good at homing, they're very good at secreting factors that tell the rest of the body to come to the aid. Now, of course, if there aren't any circulating stem cells, what's going to happen? Not a lot, right? They're sending out the signal to nobody. They're screaming in the dark to an empty room. So EPCs, now these are the cells, they're also found in the bone marrow. They also home to damaged tissue, but their primary responsibility is to keep every blood vessel in your body nice, clean, and smooth. So without a balance, if you don't have a high enough level of these EPCs, you're going to be predisposed to every vascular disease you can think of, and the 2 major ones that kill more people than anybody else are heart attack and stroke. 1 out of 2.9 deaths in this country is from cardiovascular disease. What is the correlation of EPCs with health and disease? Well, we talked about cardiovascular disease. There's a huge study that's been ongoing. It's called the Framingham study, where thousands and thousands of people are enrolled, and they look at risk factors. And the higher the risk factor you have, the higher chance you have of dying of a heart attack or a stroke or having one of those events, okay? And in this study, which is in the New England Journal of Medicine, they measured the circulating levels of EPCs in patients, and they matched them up with their Framingham score. And guess what? The higher level the EPCs, the lower the score, the lower the risk they had for heart attack and stroke. And it was highly significant. Next slide is for all the guys in the room. This is erectile function. People with erectile dysfunction have a decreased level of EPCs. And if you categorize it by mild, see, it's, people without erectile dysfunction, it would be 100. There's not a bar there. But people with mild erectile dysfunction have a decreased level of EPCs. With moderate, it's even worse. And severe, it's greatly depressed. And it makes sense because the vasculature, that goes to the penis, if there's not adequate vasculature, you're going to have erectile dysfunction. And not having enough EPCs can result in that. In summary, circulating CD34s and 133s, the blood-forming cells, are hugely important to health. They circulate throughout the body, and the more you have circulating, if you have an event, or even to prevent an event, the more that are circulating, the more repair that can go on because they home to damaged tissue and they recruit more stem cells to the damaged area. And EPCs, I think we've adequately covered that. Again, they're very important for maintaining your vasculature, for cardiovascular support. So we have 2 published studies in the peer-reviewed literature on STEMKIND. The first one was a pilot study done on 6 people, and then the second was a bigger study done on 18 people, and this was the conclusion of the second study. To our knowledge, this is the first study demonstrating profound mobilization effect with possible clinical significance by a food supplement-based approach. And this was published about a year ago. Thank you.
Now, wasn't that fascinating stuff? It's powerful. I love how science is helping us to better understand our body and what's going on inside of it. Now, let's review just a couple points, shall we? First off, we're not talking about controversial stem cells. Now, I could just picture some of you, when I mentioned the term stem cells, you were pulling back and saying, whoa, just a minute. I'm not into that kind of stuff. We're talking here about your own adult stem cells that are released every day of your life in your own body. Now, these stem cells serve to repair and replace damaged cells or tissue. We've got some, 67 trillion cells in our body, which are made up of 200 or more types of cells. Whenever there's damage, whether it's a cut on your skin or damage to a vital organ, your body mobilizes stem cells to go to the point of injury and to turn into the kind of cell that was damaged. Now, those stem cells can be mobilized if they are present and to the degree that they are present and available. Because the fact is that we know that our body's production of stem cells decreases at about age 25. And so if you want that repair to keep happening, you have to ensure that your body has enough stem cells to do the repair. So that's why this research that Dr. Reardon and his team of scientists did is so exciting. They discovered a way to empower the body to produce more of its own stem cells. So STEMKIND is the product which they pulled together to do this research. So what does STEMKIND do? STEMKIND nourishes the bone marrow. And remember, the bone marrow is one of the primary production plants for stem cells in the body. So STEMKIND supports the bone marrow to produce a greater number of circulating stem cells. And it's been backed by 2 clinical studies that have been published in peer-reviewed scientific journals. What is this STEMKIND stuff? STEMKIND is a proprietary food supplement produced by the fermentation of certain ingredients: green tea, astragalus, goji berry. Now, ingredients that we know and we understand, these are really good for us. But when they're put through this fermentation process, the active ingredients in them are enhanced. You add that together with ellagic acid, beta-1,3-glucan, and vitamin D3, and you get this product that enhances the body's ability to produce its stem cells. What happens? People with higher stem cell levels show the ability to repair more quickly from sports injuries or from surgery. How important is that? For myself, when I was doing shoulder presses, I tweaked an old injury in my neck and shoulder, and I was laid up. I spent thousands of dollars on physio, chiropractic, massage therapy, and I got some relief, but it wasn't until I started taking StemKine that my shoulder and neck fully healed so I could get back into action. How excited do you think I was when that happened? Increased mobility and an increase in energy. People with higher stem cell levels also show faster hair and nail growth, a healthier complexion, and a general sense of well-being. Can you understand the value of that? Repairing, replenishing, renewing the damage that is taking place. Not just the damage that you know is there, but that incremental damage that could, if allowed to continue, could leave you on the sidelines. You know those former athletes who have trouble getting out of a chair, who have trouble moving around? Let's not go there, okay? Next step. Okay, so you may have more stem cells, but what about those other things? What's going to build your lean muscle? What's going to reduce that lactic acid buildup? What's going to reduce the oxidative damage? And what's going to fuel, energize, and increase the endurance of the cells? Let's talk about fatigue. Inadequate oxygen to the muscles and organs means that they have to go into anaerobic cycle, okay, and they can't operate optimally. So cellular energy is dependent upon the mitochondria of the cells. Those are the little cellular energy factories. You probably know that the greater fitness that someone has, they tend to have more mitochondria, more energy factories within each cell. So how do we energize on a cellular level? Well, is sugar water really the answer? Is boosting our body with carbohydrates really the answer? I'm going to show you why it's not in just a few minutes. What's the next challenge? Well, how about the lactic acid buildup? Lactic acid, we know about that. It reduces muscle performance. It shortens our endurance. It slows recovery. How many times have you wanted to go work out again and you're still achingly slow from the last workout? Lactic acid lowers our body pH. And low body pH, or acidity in the body, not only affects our muscle performance, but it actually affects every organ, every cell in our body. Excess acidity weakens all body systems. Let's talk about oxidative damage. Oxidative damage releases free radicals into the body. It interferes with the cell's ability to function normally. It damages all components of the cells, including the proteins, the lipids, the DNAs. Boy, I could go into a lot more detail on this stuff, but for time's sake, I'm going to save that to a later seminar or webinar. Let's talk about how we can deal with those things. Microhydrin is a product, it's a mineral-based antioxidant. It quenches or neutralizes free radical damage, okay? Takes them right out of the game. Takes them right out of the game. It helps to create energy without stimulants, and it enhances endurance and speeds recovery. Now you're saying, wow, that's saying a lot. So how does it do that? Let's just quickly overview this, okay? Reduces the lactic acid produced during exercise. It neutralizes it because microhydrin is highly alkaline. So it neutralizes that acidity. Therefore, it reduces sore muscles. With a pH of 10.5, it can alkalinize not only the lactic acid in the muscles, but it can alkalinize the entire body. It increases cellular hydration. Microhydrin lowers the surface tension of water so the water can more readily get into our cells. It also improves blood oxygen levels. If our blood is slightly acidic, and it has to stay within a very narrow range, if it gets too alkaline or too acidic, we'll die. But if it's slightly acidic, its ability to carry oxygen can get as low as 20%. Okay, so oxygen starvation. So microhydrin increases the blood's ability to carry that oxygen. Okay, let's move on. Oh, hey, before we do though, look at this. Here's dark field microscope pictures of regular blood, acidic blood, and then alkaline free-flowing blood in a person who has taken microhydrin. Can you see that? Pretty cool, isn't it? Which kind of blood do you want? Blood is supposed to flow, not stick, eh? So, that's about as scientific as we need to get there, but just look at that. Okay, let's talk about amino acids and lean muscle. I told you about, and you know about, muscle breaking down, those muscle fibers getting stretched, damaged, and then rebuilding to get stronger. I told you about how our body has a more difficult time building lean muscle as we get older. So in order to help it to do that, we need to give it a highly effective protein. Now, what do we mean by effective protein? An effective protein needs to have a high NNU. And unfortunately, that is a term that you may not be familiar with. NNU stands for net nitrogen utilization. Basically, it refers to the amount of the protein, the amount of the amino acids that your body uses to build lean muscle versus the amount of the protein your body uses for energy. Well, with your typical protein supplements that you see people taking and buying in big canisters, the NNU is about 16% on average. Now, what does that mean? That means 16% of the amino acids can be used for lean muscle, and the other 100 minus 16, 84% are used for exercise. Now, dietary proteins tend to be about, on average, 32%. So a bit higher, but still a large percentage of what you're taking is going into energy, not into lean muscle building. A good, highly effective protein also needs to have rapid digestion. You ever had your protein drink and then you're out working out or you're out exercising and you feel this thing in your stomach? Most proteins, whether they be of the protein supplement variety or the dietary proteins, take between 3 and 6 hours to digest. So that means you need to take them 3 to 6 hours before you work out or exercise. In addition, an effective protein really should have a high digestibility. So you don't have that mass of undigestible material sitting in your gut when you're trying to exercise. Anyone ever experienced that? Okay, me too. A good protein, good amino acids should have no fat and no calories. Get your calories somewhere else. They should have 9 essential plus 2 conditionally essential amino acids. Now, what do we mean by that? Well, there's essential amino acids. Those are the amino acids that our body, if it has those, it can then manufacture the rest of the amino acids. Okay, we're familiar with that? Well, the conditionally essential amino acids are those that our body sometimes can't manufacture on its own. 2 of the big ones related to exercise are glutamine and arginine. How important are they? Let me tell you. Glutamine, for example, if your body does not have enough glutamine and it needs additional glutamine, particularly in times of stress or after exercise, if your body doesn't have enough glutamine, it will actually go and try to find it. And guess where it finds it? That's right, in your lean muscle. So your body will actually go and break down lean muscle in order to get glutamine. So how important is it to have a good supply of glutamine in your protein? Hey, it's very important, but if you get too much, that can also be a problem, and I'll have to tell you about that later. Arginine is also really important for your cardiovascular system. Your body also uses it to make something called creatine. Hey, we've heard of that, which is vitally important for the building of muscle. Well, all of the physiological responses and processes related to sports, whether it's energy, whether it's recovery, whether it's muscle and strength improvements, whether it's fat loss, even brain functions like mood and our nervous system, are linked to amino acids. They are that vitally important. They're the building blocks of the human body. Protivity is a vegetable source crystalline amino acid. It has an NNU of 99%. 99% of those amino acids, of that protein, goes into lean muscle building. Only 1% goes into energy production. It takes 20 minutes for full digestion. 20 minutes and it's in your system available. So that means when you take it before a workout, 20 minutes before a workout, as you're working out, you're straining those muscles, your body says, hey, I can rebuild right now because I've got the amino acids, I've got the building blocks, the raw material that I need. You take some after your workout, right after your workout, 20 minutes. And it's in your system. Those amino acids are ready and available. It's not like 3 to 6 hours later, but right then, they're ready, they're available. Your body says, hey, I can start rebuilding those muscles. It's got the 9 essential, it's got the 2 conditionally essential, glutamine and arginine. Powerful, powerful, highly effective protein supplement. So, what is the cellular advantage? I've told you about StemKine, a revolutionary new way to fuel the body's ability to produce stem cells. I've told you about microhydrin, and I've told you about Protivity. We started out by talking about 3 challenges. The challenge of fatigue, the challenge of pain, injury, and incremental damage. We talked about the challenge of decreased performance and limited improvement, hitting those plateaus. I've told you about the peak performance pyramid and the 5 pillars for peak performance. And I've shared with you how StemKine can help the body to renew, replenish, and repair, how it can help the body with endurance and energy. I shared with you about Protivity, how it can help the body to build lean muscle and provide the building blocks for that vital process of repair, renewing, and replenishing. And I've shared with you about microhydrin, how it fuels the body, not just the nervous system, but it fuels on a cellular level, how it decreases lactic acid in the body and acid in general, and how it can help to guard and protect against oxidative damage. Well, at this point in time, generally, there are 3 typical responses when I share these breakthroughs. You may be sitting here thinking, well, you know, I'm totally happy with my performance. No thanks. To that, I've got to respond, like, really? Seriously? I get it. You're thinking, oh, maybe this is too expensive. I don't know if I can afford it. Listen, look in the mirror. Well, actually don't. Just stay here because I want to keep you with me. But look at yourself. That's the only body you're ever going to have. Like, some of us take better care of our gear and our equipment than we do of our bodies. You can replace that stuff, but this thing, it's the only one I'm ever going to have. Is it worth it? You better believe it. Some of you are saying, well, you know, I'd like to do more research. Now that I understand. You're questioning the value. You're questioning the value. You're wondering if there really is the science to back it up. Listen, we've got lots more science to back it up. Write this website down, check out rbc.com, check out rbc.com. You can go there, there's some information on these products. You can also check on the website that's on the label of this DVD. And there's a more extended version of this video as a webinar there that you can watch. We'll give you more details, more of the scientific stuff behind it. We'll also give you extended stories and specific details on those stories from the people that you heard at the beginning of this video. And if you really want to do research, like, check it out in your own body. That's the laboratory of one, right? Check it out in your own body, test it. The stuff comes with a money-back guarantee. So try it for 60, 90 days. Experience the effects. Now, some of you are saying, yes, I want the cellular advantage for peak performance. I want to be in the game and I want to be fully in the game, so I'm going to get going with this. What do I do? Well, here it is. There's 3 ways to get started. These products are not available in stores, okay? But you can buy at retail through the person whose name is on the DVD that you're watching. So contact that person. They can sell it to you at retail. Is it a good deal? Absolutely, it's a good deal. Although honestly, I don't know why you would pay the full retail. Because the company that markets these products has a membership program, a wholesale membership program, that you can buy it at 20% off retail with a free lifetime membership. I think that's a no-brainer. Okay? The third option, if you really like deals, is, hey, commit to yourself. Make that commitment to yourself with a monthly order and free lifetime membership. You get an additional 10% off, so that's 30% off retail. It comes to you every month, so you got a full supply. You can stop, you can cancel, you can change at any time. Okay? So you got it, retail, wholesale, auto ship. The no-brainer really is auto ship. Get that product, try it out, full money-back guarantee. Check it out, see how it works in your own personal laboratory. You will experience the benefits, as I know you will. Okay, I mentioned that it's not available in stores, so just so you're aware, there is an optional program to earn from referrals. You begin to experience the benefits. You're going to be feeling good, and people will notice a difference, okay? As they noticed when I started using these products. Hey, after a workout with my personal trainer, come back the next day, and he's like, so you sore, Ron? I'm saying, actually, not really at all. I wish I had a camera to see the look on his face. These products are only available through RBC Life. RBC Life is a 20-year-old company with a history of innovation, scientific discovery and research in the health and wellness industry. And I said it before, it's backed by a money-back guarantee. Okay, so what do you do now? Get back to the person whose name is on this DVD. They are the best person. They invested in you to give you this DVD. So get back to them. Let them know if you've got questions, you want more information, they'd be happy to get it to you. Order your products today and get started with the cellular advantage towards peak performance. I'm Ron Zaire. Thanks for listening. I look forward to seeing the results that you're going to get.